take us back to the very beginning. Who is Beatrice Elachi? As a young girl.
This young girl was born here in Nairobi. But then now I know in my ID they normally write Kakamega. But parents are there. Why I say was born in Nairobi? Because schooled first in Nairobi before going back to the rural. So I schooled here at Kelelesho Primary School. Then at that time, when we were still very young, my parents had the normal challenges we had. My dad was pushed by the community that, look, you've married a Kikuyu, she's given birth to children, she'll go with the children and you'll remain without. And so my dad had to marry a second wife. And so married somebody from home, which I think they were happy about. And so we grew up that way. And so kawaida, as they were saying, it reached a point mom had to take us and take care of us. But that time, before that, my dad took us back home. And so I went home, continued with my schooling until I finished my high school. But in that, even as I was in high school, so I'd go, when we close, I'll come back to mom. Mom used to stay here. She worked as a chef for the Danish embassy. And so she was a chef of the ambassador then. And we schooled, we finished. And I went to campus, finished in Samarido. And 2002. So they were young who really wanted to see change. So we were with Kibaki at that time. And we would feel the breath of bringing in a Kenya that is in after the repeal of Section 2 of the Constitution then.
And as a young person then,
yes.
How was that experience for you?
Well, wow, it was an experience that I know many of us of that time would tell you. You see, the good thing at that time, those who were in campus, I think had an opportunity to grow and understand how do you take a country and why would you want to have a good country. And you remember that time many people were going abroad who are today the diasporas, many of them. And I remember in campus when a student leader stood and spoke to the country, everyone would listen because we had a universal way of doing our elections. And also at that time, I don't think we had brought in all this affirmative action processes that we brought into campus. So it was very clear that you're in campus and you know why you're at campus. And you know that you're supposed to work hard because most of them had also come in from very, very vulnerable backgrounds. So you knew it is only this education that will change my life. I have nothing else.
You've had a dynamic career, right? From
Yes.
clerk of the Senate to Nairobi County Speaker and now an MP. What has shaped your political ideology over the years?
So I would say I was privileged. First of all, to start very low, I started working with women organizations. So I had the mentorships of, now when I say mentorship, people always think, oh, so with Professor Wanjiku Kabira, you've been following her, you've been doing this. No, Prof used to give you a task.
So you were not sheltered? You were not like helped into those spaces, like you had to work your way?
Yes, with Daisy, with many others. First, she believed in commitment. You must be dedicated that you'll wake up every morning and not ask her whether she will get you transport or not. That is not her business. But the opportunity she gave us, she would tell you, we need money for civic education. We have the African Women Fund, we have the UNIFEM, we have this. Please write a proposal. And so you do this proposal. The first time she'll come with a red pen, you'll think now you're back in class in campus where she's looking at your thesis and marking. So she will do red, 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 red. She tells you, please, sit down and relook at your concept. So you go and try until the time shall tell you, this is right. So that's how they shaped us, that you can do it. And we took long, we never questioned. I remember with Daisy, we volunteered for 2.5 years. First we started with the Collaborative Center for Gender, then we went to the Women's Political Alliance. And we were able, from there on, to understand how do we move on with the women's movement, what is needed, how do we sacrifice, until we went into the making of the new constitution.
Moving on, looking back at your time as the Speaker of the County Assembly, what was your biggest lesson during that whole experience?
Well, devolution, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see, when I came in as Speaker, you know, I thought, okay, you come in as Speaker, you're very partial, which I was, and you need to just work with all members. Because I had just come from Senator and being a whip. So I understood how we worked in Senate. In my assuming, I believed the same way we worked in Senate. It's the same way. But then in the County Assembly, and I would say it's our constitution that somewhere we did not do right, there are two things that we need to look at. One, we decided that the County Assembly will be where you can now look at all the bylaws, which are very critical in every place to grow. That you want to transform Nairobi, you need the County Assembly to give you those good bylaws that can transform. But we forgot also, if you want to start afresh, we would have said, if you have been a councillor or something, the first County Assembly would wish to see new people, then you can come in. After 5 years, you can come in. The same way I always say, in the Senate, I am one person who says it is absolutely very wrong that you have been a governor for 10 years and you walk into the Senate. It's absolutely ethically very wrong because you're auditing yourself. So now you've come in, everyone has an interest. Those who were there before, they have interest because they have come in. Part of the staff, even in the executive, are your children, are your who. So everyone is protecting their grounds. And so even if you want to push in and bring in some change, you have to take a while. And then even when we were employing, even in the County Assembly, the same challenge appeared, which is okay. But I wish we would have said, you can stay 3 years in Nairobi, and another 3 years you can be seconded to another county, you know, the staffs. So they get to know, to understand this devolution. How is it? And you know, that time you'll not feel very protective of what you have. But in Nairobi, we are so protective. We are so protective in our interests. We are so protective in what we do. And that's why sometimes we are not moving where we'd want to go. And so every governor who comes in and finds it that way. And so you fight it, and not just at the County Assembly, even the executive side. Because, tell me, Anne, what denies you as a Kenyan? So we say, there's garbage, there's this. But you, who have been given a kiosk somewhere, maybe at Lavington, when you finish, where do you mwaga your jivu? Just there. All the waters of your things that you are washing, the ugalis, where? There. Do you have a garbage where you throw in your garbage? No. So where do you throw it? So how do you want to make that place clean? So if all of us who do small businesses in Nairobi just agreed, indeed we need to just have some cleanliness, because it's not, the kiosks we have here, they are also abroad. People are there cooking sausages on the streets and everything, but it is clean. What denies us? And those are the small things that build up, and you find ourselves in a tabia mbaya tukiendanga. And then we blame each other. But it is us. And so in the County Assembly, by the time now we were coming, first of all, you'll walk in and maybe they feel, how this Mother, this what Mama. But the good thing in that county assembly to date, Anne, we came with all the challenges, we streamlined. I know many people say, now Elachi employed so many lawyers. No, I never employed anyone, by the way. All I did is the same team I found there. I just took you to a merit and said, just do an internal interview for you to get a promotion. So you find now at that level is where now everyone was falling to their right places.
Okay.
Because now you are running human resource. When I came in, someone is running human resource, but you have a diploma, I don't know in where. And there's a staff who has a PhD in human resource who has been working in national government. And I asked them, how does that work? So when they went to their interviews, I just placed the best. And the good thing, I didn't do the interviews because I knew you do the interviews, they'll blame you. So I went back to public service and said, come and do for us interviews and place these people in their correct places.
Was there a moment you felt like, no, with all these issues going on here, enough is enough?
Oh yes, many times. But then I remembered as women, if you resign again, people blame you. Oh, you see women, they've run away. But I came and I resigned. But at that time, I told myself, everything they had said, I have now finished. The things they said I had done, they've now realized I never did. Isn't it the right time to move now when your name is on the right plate? And I said, now we are about to go to elections. I am going to vie. It's better I resign now and go back to the ground. So that's what I did.
And moving on, how would you assess President Ruto performance today?
Nice one, Anne. For me, you know, there are two things. When did we destroy Kenya? You see, when we brought in the new constitution in 2010, everyone had hopes, especially for us who worked on this constitution. We had very high hopes. How we have come with devolution to where we have reached. You see, many of these things William is doing, we were doing it with Uhuru. We were doing it with Uhuru. He has not dropped the ball of even one agenda of what Uhuru wanted to achieve.
And the other day, what was meant to be a very simple prayer, turned out to be something totally different online, on social media.
Well, you see that the problem, and people, I took it, for me, I prayed. Now, if you want to go and start using and say this, that's up to you. I think I prayed, and you remember, it was just a confession. What have we done wrong as members of parliament that has made the country not to move? And I think that's all I prayed for. That, you know what, God, forgive us. We are human. If we have done wrong in this, if we have done wrong in these laws, if we have done wrong in this, forgive us. I think most of the time I kept on just saying, forgive us on this, forgive us on this. And I ended up also, I prayed, I think, for the president in that prayer. I said we normally sabotage. But I also prayed for the executive that, you see, when you're given an opportunity, serve. Why should a Kenyan come to, for example, Nyayo House, come 10 times looking for one thing, and you've told him, go online, do this, you'll deliver. And anyway, the challenge becomes, how come it was being done and then all of a sudden it has stopped again, we are going back to where we came from? That's the pain. That at a point you have given good governance, then all of a sudden you want to go back to the bad governance. Those are the things I was just praying about, that we just try our best. And the prayer breakfast helps you to try your best. Try your best in what you're doing, try your best in the privileges you've been given, all that.
The next conversation we are going to have is a bit sensitive, so please take your time. You recently lost your son.
Okay.
And a lot of people have the privilege of, experiencing grief privately, but for you it might be different because of the nature of your work.
Yeah.
How did that affect the grieving process for you?
Well, for me, First of all, it's a very sad thing. Because, Elvis was at home. It's 10:30. The same way any young person will do in their home. Wake up, you are going now to help others, they have called you. And you make sure you drop them. So it is in a span of 2 hours, and you get into this mess. And in the beginning, when they said, oh, he has gotten the accident, I thought to myself, oh no, we will go to the hospital, we'll find. But I think it's many things, yeah? Many things that just happened there that he never had any place. The only thing he had was just a fracture on his leg,
On the leg,
but you couldn't even see. And so the problem was just, I think, you see, when you see the place, he's moving down on Thika Road, and I think when he did the brakes, the car turned going back, as if you're going back where you are coming from. So he hits the wall at that time on his right. See, when you're driving, you're on your left. So he's hitting when he's on his right, meaning he has changed it as if he was going now that side. And so I think that wall twisted or just tilted the brain. Maybe if the doctors did not open, we would be saying something different. But after opening the brain, I think then it became very uncontrollable, even for them. They were unable even to return the skull.
Okay.
So maybe that is because the rest functioned until now. It could not, the other organs could not feel. You see, it is your brain that now functions all these other organs. Yeah, and that is what's accounting. So for me, there are two things I have told myself, which you question only who? God. You can't question any human being. You'll only question God. Why would it happen? Why now? Why at this time? And so we have left it to that. I always say I just pray for his soul, that God will grant him favor. But then it also showed me the other way of Elvis. I didn't know he had really entrenched himself with the students where he was, because they came in huge numbers. They even told me he went to Emali to do a church. You see, these are things you don't know, because they are young people. And they will tell you this, they will tell you he stood with us, he was there for us, and this, and this. So yeah, so I always thank God that there's a lot of positivity in his space where he was, which makes us very happy. Especially when they told me he went build a church, I said, oh God, in his age, to do a harambe, and he never asked me. But he ended and did a harambe for a friend where they went to a church and realized this church needs some, something to be done, which was good. So, yeah. How you respond is up to you. You see, you're talking to me, I don't know you. You don't know us.
Yeah.
You don't know how Elvis has grown up. And I thank God he grew up, he knew what is church. He would go to Holy Trinity. He knew why he should wake up on a Sunday and go to church when he's there. And that's what makes me happy. So, well, I was told many things. So the anger, or you killed other children. You see, that is where I felt. That's why today I always tell people, sort out your problem. You know why? Because we stood for everything. Whether it was a finance bill, we said no. Whether it was SHA, we gave our reasons why we feel it is wrong the way we are doing it. Whether it is this. But then when you have done all that, and they come back and they say, oh, it's this. Why would you, wouldn't you just now do the right thing? Stand firm and say, this is good for the country and let it be done. Yeah, they're now pretending you want to please. There's no need of pleasing. Just do what's right. It's you and your God. It is God who you should fear first than any other thing. And death is inevitable. Everyone will find their space in death. So it is not something I should fear. No. The only pain comes when a young person goes. Just that. But the rest is, it's a part of your life. If you are here, part of your life is not dying, then you are in trouble. Because it will come. That's why it's a secret. That's why if I knew, I would have tried to prevent, isn't it? But that's why God tells you.
But just within your capacity as a human being, yeah?
Yeah. So I listened to, thank God I never read. I was just being told, this happened, this happened. I said, the good thing, I don't read. I don't read. So even if there was good and bad, that one we leave it to God.
You are off social media?
Off completely. And I've come to realize it's the best way to be. Yeah, because if you decide it will tell you the things you want to hear, then I think you'll have a nightmare. You say what is good and do it rightfully. I think that's the best. But this is what I want to tell ourselves. In everything, there's good and bad. For me, I'll never pray for anyone, for their child to go through a road accident. Or those are not good deaths.
How do you deal with cyberbullying?
Well, cyberbullying, and it's there, it's very serious. But you see, if you take it personally, then you'll be in a hospital bed. So I completely not even, sometimes I listen, and nowadays, I told you when we were beginning, when I was in the US, I asked them, since you guys are so high in tech, please, this is my phone. I need you to just close. So they just gave me one thing. You can use Siri, you can use Gemini. You ask, is this guy in my contact? If she tells you no, switch it off. So nowadays I speak with it. That's how I'm dealing with it. So it's not a must. You might send me. I know many will try and send and they'll find they can't find me. That's another challenge. I have learned you can use my phone without a SIM card. You know, you have to go high-tech also. Yeah. So when I know we are about to go in madness, I just remove the SIM card. But I'll still be on. Those who know will still find me. So I'll just use a satellite. I'm gone. So nowadays I have said, if you are, especially when you're a woman, you see what amazes me is how a woman, you see when you listen to how you'll be spoken to, even on X, on everything, people talk to you, and you're wondering, men have done all these things, but they can't face their colleagues. So I've learned that men know how to protect themselves with their colleagues. But if it's a woman, you'll be bashed.
Mheshimiwa, you've spoken about a more strict social media law and regulations. What are some of the changes that you think need to be done, and where do we draw the line between, free speech and breaking the law?
You see, in fact, there's nothing on social media we are touching. It's just the way people picked it. The social media I spoke about is the same social media the report coming from Geneva is talking about, that what we have done wrong, that we have allowed child prostitution and child gambling and pornography, and we are the highest now in the world on that, and early teen pregnancies. It was not me. It's a group of civil society who took the report to Geneva. And the AG had to stand in for the government. And and we agreed we are going back in September to go and now say the mechanisms. What mechanisms are we putting in place to deal with this matter? So you see, in the Bill of Rights, we agreed that the international treaties are part of our laws. So that's an international treaty. And all organizations in the UN are the ones who sit to review every country. So we have that, we have femicide, we have abductions, and gender-based violence. Those are the, when now you do the peer review that they are talking about, when you click to get how many people spoke about this, you will get to see the numbers now. Then you'll know 2/3 of that room was speaking about this on Kenya, was speaking like this. So that's how this report is. So it's not really my report. It was just a report that is in the country and we have to deal with it. And it is not us who took it, it's our fellow Kenyans who feel these are issues we must deal with, who went and did the report and gave the report.
Okay. And as we wind up, what message do you have for Kenyans?
I'll say this. Kenya is a home. And in your house, you have very different challenges that you face, which is Kenya. In this house today, you might have everything that you need for your children. Tomorrow you'll wake up, a chronic disease has walked into the home. You're suffering of cancer, everything changes. It has gone to now take care of you, the parent who is sick or the child, whoever. And so there are things you'll go down on. It's like a home where you are just well in the morning, in the evening something has happened, and that strength you had as a breadwinner is gone. So the Kenya we have now went down, and not just Kenya, all the nations when we hit into COVID. At that time we had borrowed a lot, and we thought we would have paid these debts. We went as Kenya, we have brought in counties. We thought the counties will build and Kenyans will feel there is growth even in the rural areas. But now we've all gone down. When you look at how the counties are, you feel a bit disappointed. Why is it you are getting these billions, we can't see growth? Another county is doing well. You ask yourself, why didn't we have a blueprint to make a few things similar so that you as a growing up Kenyan will know we have 47 counties, but they are similar. It does not matter where you are. We are growing the same. Because when you look at all the counties and the states in the US, everything is similar. That's what we are lacking. That is why people are wondering, why is it in Homa Bay it's doing well, and just here in Siaya, nothing is seen, just here and here? Why is it when Oparanya was in Kakamega, it was doing well, now it is not doing well? What does that mean to all of us? It is the leader who will make Kenya grow. And not just a leader president, the leader who is in a position, who is a principal of a school. When they decide that school will perform, that school will have clean, that school will have children with values, the principal. It is me in Dagoretti North. I have to decide, do I want to see good? Do I want to leave a legacy in Dagoretti North? It is you who is in another position, and another, and another. The moment that chain grows of everyone who is dedicated, who wants to see a better Kenya, who wants to see a clean environment, by the time you're coming to the top has no choice but to do the right thing.